Deportiva y con swing.
Deportiva y con swing.
La factoría del deporte desde New York para ti. Es una máquina.
Es una máquina
Pensada para ti.
pensada para ti. Número uno en las redes, dale like y compartir.
Con informaciones importantes siempre frescas.
Y con entrevistas que te ponen de cabeza.
Lo mejor del deporte lo encontrarás aquí.
Búscale en las redes, dale like y compartir.
Suscríbete,
Ay sí,
infórmate.
ok. Dale a la campana para que te llegue.
Been interesting for you?
I mean, definition of a grinder. I mean, it's pretty much it. He's here even before I am, which is pretty tough to do. And he leaves later than I do, so that's also pretty hard to do. So, you know, the fact that he's you know, tireless worker, always trying to find an edge to give us in order to win a game, and that's on a daily basis. So the fact that he sets that example, it's pretty special.
Were you surprised by anything other than that? You know, I know, you know, there was a lot of pushback outside of the White Sox when he came in. Has there been anything else that has surprised you, or, you know, it's just been normal manager-coach relationship, player relationship?
Yeah, no, it's been, I mean, it's been good with me. There's nothing I can recall that you know, that pops up other than what I just mentioned. So yeah, I mean, I'm so far so good. I mean, we got a division and now we're going into the postseason. So doesn't really matter what other people said. It's matters is what he's done.
James?
So just what is the kind of the process, you know, dating back from spring training, just getting to know Lance Lynn and understand, you know, kind of how he goes about his work and, you know, get a view of what has made him so successful through his career?
I mean, Lance is great. You know, I remember being in spring training and being in a meeting with a bunch of the coaches and catchers and just kind of telling them how, you know, it was nice to just catch a guy who didn't really think too much and he was attacking the strike zone. And that's pretty much what he's done all year. It seems like that's what he's done his whole career. I mean, he's going to come at you. He's going to put pressure on you, and you better be ready for him when he's on the mound.
Daryl?
Money, what specific challenges do the Astros lineup present? And I was just curious about, you know, pitching plan during the course of the season and maybe how you might adjust or adjustments that you know, you might be considering as you go into the series. Does it change? Do you do what you do best, or what's kind of the plan of attack there? As far
Well,
as
we're gonna hold on for the plan of attack first. I mean, if you're gonna try and get some information like that off of me, you are asking the wrong guy. So, but on the other side, it's the fact that they've had a lot of experience in the playoffs and they made deep runs as we've seen in the past, and that goes a long way. You know, you're not gonna intimidate a team like that. You're not gonna put pressure on a team like that. You know, I've been on teams who've had deep runs in the postseason, and I know exactly what goes on. And all they wait for is for you to make a mistake in order to take over. So, you know, all you have to do is play your game and allow them to almost sit back and wait for you to make that mistake. And, you know, hopefully they make the mistake before we do.
Armand?
Yeah, Osmani, just what did this team learn from last year's postseason experience?
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, last year was the first postseason, but there was nobody in the stands. This year is completely different. You're going to go into a stadium that can get pretty rowdy. which I love. I love when we were playing there in the World Series. The atmosphere there was awesome. So I'm hoping that they do the same thing this year. So you just got to block that out and play your game. Hopefully, they understand to some sort of degree of what they're going into. But if they don't, let them experience on their own and see what happens.
Jay?
Hey, Yasmani, we were talking about Russa earlier. Does a manager with his type of track record in the postseason, can you draw confidence from that as a player, what he's been able to do in the postseason with a couple different teams and his ability? He's got a track record of making decisions that help teams, make deep runs in the postseason.
Yeah, it's definitely something you don't worry about. You're not worrying about your coaching staff letting the game speed up on them. He's been there. He knows what to do. He's seen lots of different situations that can come up. He's been there, so the fact that he's done that, he now has the experience to be able to make a call when he needs to. So we stand by that call no matter what, and hopefully he doesn't have to make too many calls.
Jesse?
Yasmani, everyone's wondering what you can get out of Rodon coming up. Was last time out like kind of the formula against the Reds there? Maybe a little lower velo, but just being able to work it at that speed and get outs, because he only gave up one hit.
Yeah, well, you don't know. You don't know. You might get the 100-mile-per-hour Rodon, or you might get the 90-mile-per-hour Rodon. As I keep talking with hitters and opposing teams, they all say the same thing. I'm expecting this guy to throw 100, and he's throwing 90 now, so they can't. It's almost like they can't let down because they don't know when that 100 is going to come. So, so we can play it to our advantage and work a game plan that works for him.
Have you talked to him? Does he feel confident in what he can bring this month?
Yeah, no, I mean, he's always been confident. I mean, I said at the beginning of the year in Seattle, you guys are, Rodon is going to have a really good year. Some people thought I was messing around, and then all of a sudden Rodon throws a no-hitter and everybody's on his corner. So, I believe he's got the ability to pitch in this stage, and I'm hoping everybody else does too.
Chuck?
Yes, man, I'm not asking for a game plan, but Lynn's had some struggles against the Astros in his career and even this season. What have the Astros done to make it tough on Lynn, certainly this season, what you saw when you guys were in Houston earlier this year?
It seemed like they zoned him out. So, if they were planning on doing that this time around, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. We'll see.
Ryan?
Yeah, I don't know your direct quote from spring training, but you said that Cease had the ability to, be a Cy Young type pitcher at some point in his career. What kind of maturation have you seen from Dylan throughout 2021 to be a guy you guys can rely on every fifth day, and to be a guy that you guys are going to depend on in the playoffs?
I mean, I think we've seen, the steps that he's taken. He got 200 strikeouts this year. At times he was on a roll where it looked like he couldn't be touched. And then at times the young, just throwing pitcher instead of batting pitcher came out. So it's still there. He's still growing. He's still got the ability to do big things in this game. But I mean, I'll throw him out any night. I mean, I trust his ability to pitch. I trust the ability he's got to get people out any night. So, yeah, I mean, I think this postseason he's going to be one of the arms that we're going to need to step up in order to make a deep run. And I feel like he has the ability to do it. I know that's putting a lot of pressure on a young guy, but I believe that he's got the ability to be a number one here or anywhere else. And, you know, I'm going to hold him to high expectations, and hopefully at some point he meets them.
James?
I don't expect you to give out the script, but Tony mentioned kind of having some more tricks in your guys' bag or moves you guys can go to control the running game, the playoffs. Just how do you feel as far as like confidence level about your guys' ability to, you know, show more or do extra things to stop teams from being aggressive?
You know, it's something we've worked on since spring training. Something we have to definitely keep an eye out on. But you know, we're not gonna get outside our game. We definitely have different things that we've done that we haven't shown, and at times let people almost take advantage in order to not show it. So you know, once the postseason gets here, or you know, in a few days, hopefully we bring it out and you know, go from here on.
Something Jerry Nair mentioned was as you kind of got clear of you know, the knee issue in spring training and going back to the traditional stance, that your framing has kind of gone back to the levels that you've kind of put up throughout your whole career. Just what's your comfort level there, and then why does that work so well for you?
I don't know. I guess that's just the way I've always done things. I mean, I'm still working through things. I mean, I came out of one surgery and all of a sudden, you know, I had to kind of retooled my stance in order to make sure that, you know, the hamstring was good. And so it's been a work in progress. I mean, I feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over, but once you come out of, you know, one knee to all of a sudden have to go into the other knee, it's a bit harder, but you know, we're working towards the right direction. I feel like I'm in a good spot. We've been working hard on different things, whether it's blocking or throwing or receiving, and I feel like the more I'm playing more games in a row that I play, the better it gets. So hopefully it continues to be that way.
Lamont?
What is what has Liam meant to this team?
He's meant a lot. I mean, look what he's done this year. You know, he's being the backbone of that bullpen. He's thrown multiple days in a row. And guy's a bulldog. So every time he's out on the mound, he's gonna go at you. He's gonna make sure he's gonna blow doors. So that's his line. So you know, he's meant a lot, and I'm glad we had him.
Larry?
Yeah, Yasmani, you've been through the postseason before. You look like you got a little smile on your face. A different feeling when the team, they wake up this morning and realize the postseason's here and ready.
Yeah, I mean, postseason, it's a different animal. Obviously, I've been there. I've been on the highs and I've been on the lows, and all you can do is just learn from it. So I'm excited for it. You know, I get very excited when we get into the postseason. I love that atmosphere. I love fans just kind of screaming at you, especially when you're on the opposing side. So that makes me very excited. That's why I as you guys ask me these questions, I just think about, you know, the things that I've gone through the postseason and all the games we had, the good and the bad, and you know, it brings a smile to my face.
Danielle?
Out of this deep Houston lineup, is there someone who you consider to be the toughest out?
You can't just set your sights on one guy. They're in the postseason for a reason. They won the division for a reason. You know, so you can't really set your sights on one guy. You know, they can all hit. They're on the big leagues. So you gotta concentrate on 9 guys and make sure you get all those kind of 9 guys out and keep the damage to a minimum. They are strong team. They can do a lot of things well. So it's just a matter of keeping it under control, and hopefully us doing a better job.
Thanks, Yasmani. Appreciate your time.
All right, see ya.
All right, everybody, thank you. We still have Tony La Russa and Liam Hendricks to come. Give you a heads up on here once we know when they're heading in from the field and have an idea of when they'll be jumping on the Zoom.
What's the status or the update on Carlos?
Had a nice throw yesterday, looked okay today. Now pushes it to Thursday or Wednesday rather. See how you feel, Wednesday or Thursday, I forgot the next day. So far, still under consideration. It's a good sign.
Bruce?
Tony, matching up against a Dusty Baker team, you've done it for, like 15, 17 years out of the last 25. What is that about as far as the competitiveness of teams that you've managed against him?
Well, he's just very typical of a outstanding manager who gets his club ready to play, and they play the game right. So, it really isn't about occasionally you get Billy Martin. There was a manager style there that they're ready for anything, but it's really, is a team ready to play and do they know how to play? And Dusty's teams do both those things.
There seems to have been some fun. Thank you. There seems to have been some fun competitiveness between you guys over the years. Would you characterize it that way, that it's been some intense matchups?
As I mentioned before, when I went to Oakland, he was a teammate there. And he was one of the leaders on the team, him and Carney and Dave Kingman, on the position player side, that helped turn that club around. And the whole time that he started to manage, we've really had a good relationship. The only time there's been a problem is when we're in the same division and you play each other. He's for his team, I'm for my team, and sometimes, the sparks fly, but it's all understandable because of, want to take care of your team and you take care of his.
Cheryl?
Tony, when will you be announcing your game 1 starter?
Guess tomorrow, probably.
What's the gamesmanship with doing that?
No gamesmanship. No gamesmanship. We wanted to come out. Guys were pitching till the end of the weekend. And so when they did, we weren't together yesterday. So today's our first day eyeballing them. So we'll talk about it. And there's no gamesmanship. I mean, whatever it is, they're going to have, probably announce the Thursday, Friday. I mean, Thursday, Friday pitcher. They'll have plenty of time to get ready for both of them. It really is just wanting to track at the end of a long season who needs the extra day and who doesn't.
Jay?
I don't believe in gamesmanship, by the way. I think that's counter to sportsmanship, and I believe in sportsmanship. But I also believe you got to take care of your club, and you don't want to rush to something and change your mind later because you had more information.
Tony, when it comes to managing in the postseason versus the regular season, what have you learned over the years from your experience in the postseason that you didn't know before you started managing these type of games?
Well, I learned right away that in '83, there's the urgency of the moment. You got to win 3 games before they do, and then 3, 4. It's the urgency, and that's why, whether it's to the coaches or myself or the player, we try to preach urgency every series. So by the time you get to October, it's not something that's different. The thing that's different about October is that you have a lot of information based on the season about your pitchers and players, and you're not you're not backing off a decision because you want to give a guy a chance to get hot, or maybe give him little extra room. The urgency of the playoffs, makes it more every decision. But as I said, that's where we try to approach the season. And just that sometimes that decision means, yeah, I think A is the right thing to do, but B makes more sense because of the long run. There's no long run in it's all short run.
Do you, obviously your postseason resume was a big reason why they wanted you for this job. Do you feel like your success this year is measured by how you guys do in October?
I think it's really, it comes in categories of fans and media. There are some fans, I think, believe, and some do media, that the most difficult thing to do is to win the division. That's just fact. 162 games against your opponents, and a lot of time now in your division, you play them a lot. All kind of obstacles, challenges. But there's also a significant number of people that believe, whether it's media or fans, that and in essence, they disrespect the regular season, which is, I think you can respect the regular season and also understand that if you get to October, you want to win, you want to be the last team standing. And if you're not, you're disappointed. And if we do, we'll celebrate. If we don't, everybody's disappointed. We're going to be disappointed too. So I just think that the biggest mistake that I don't want our club to make, and it's why I mention it, not that it's going to have an effect on fans or media. You celebrate the division championship. Don't let anybody, when it's over, try to disrespect it and say it wasn't important, because the opposite is true. I think I may have said this. I can't remember. I told somebody recently I was in. Did I tell you already about? Was it 2003 when? That's when the Marlins won, beat the Yankees. Is that 2003?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I said that to you guys, and ladies, but I live in the Bay Area, and the Giants won 100 something with Felipe Alou. An outstanding season. They got beaten in the division series by the Marlins, upstart Marlins. And I was in the Bay Area, and they got beat up like their 100 wins didn't mean anything to a lot of people. And I went, whoa. That's, that's reality. You get this America. That's what you want to believe. You get to believe it. But like I said, I've told our club that division championship was very difficult, well earned. Embrace it, but turn the page, because now there's only, after the next 2 days, there'll be 8 teams playing, and we got as good a chance as anybody. So let's take our best shot.
Sully.
Sorry. Hey, Tony. Back when Eloy got injured, there was a lot of worry. Maybe he should just DH. He'll get injured again, or he's not that good of a fielder. Has he proven himself to you that he belongs out there for the whole game in left field? Or, I know you have to sub for him sometimes late innings, but has he proven his defense to you, I guess?
Well, the opinion of the people that I think respected the most in the organization was there wasn't anything. He got a good jump, got good hands. He's got really a strong, accurate arm. It really came down to his tendency to run to the wall, and so he's very aggressive when he plays out there. So we try to compensate by playing him deeper. And the only times that he hasn't played is sometimes you want to rest his legs early on. And I haven't taken him out for defense. I pinch ran for him the day before Moncada hit the home run because, that was a time run. But my long-winded answer is when he feels fine, the deal we have is if he tells me or the trainer or both that his legs are tight or sore, then you DH him. But if he gets a left field assignment, he's going to say his legs feel good, and if feel good, he plays.
Chuck.
Hey, Tony, managing in the playoffs versus the regular season, when the lights go on and the game starts, how is it different in the playoffs, in game, with decisions you make and just the speed of way things are going versus the regular season, if there's a difference?
I talked about that a little bit ago. The speed is not different. There's every bit that much speed during the season, especially when you play close games against good opponents. The difference is on the good side, you don't have to pull back on any decision because you're thinking long-term. And the fun of it, and I think it's fun, that's the way I was taught and that's what I've experienced, the urgency of the moment is fun. Where you think literally every inning on the top half, like we're going to be on the road, top half, we can win the game offensively, and back on the bottom, we can lose it. And that's what you translate to your players. But more than anything, as a manager and coaching staff, is there anything we can do in the half innings? And you do that 18 times, see what the score is.
Lamont.
Hey, Tony, I think this will be Grandal's seventh consecutive postseason. Just what does it say about him and what he brings to a ball club?
Yeah, I mean, I think, there's longevity counts, and 7 is a lot. I mean, and when they're consecutive, counts even more. So not only has he been a contributor, but he's been he's learned. So he's going to bring that to our guys. I mean, I was like Case today, and I asked Jim Tomey, I think he's been, 8, 9, or 10 of them. I said, what did you feel that you learned that made you the best, most ready to take your best shot? And he talked about some of his experiences, and that's what Yaz has. And Yaz is very willing to communicate that to his teammates.
Steve.
Hey, Tony, I don't know if you're too right in the thick of it to be able to, appreciate something like what you and Dusty Baker are representing in this series, the 2 oldest managers in the game, division winners and going against each other. But does that mean anything to you? Do you feel any sort of a, different sort of a bond or something like that because you're involved in that with Dusty at this time in your lives?
I think he would agree that our bond is that we have 2 outstanding teams. And if we both had been managing teams that weren't this outstanding, then we'd be watching on TV. So I think it's important to recognize our good fortune to be involved with these 2 teams. I do believe that, and I'm sure he's heard about it as much as I have over the years, the traditional respect that scouts, player development, coaches, and in-game decision-making carried, that there are a lot of people pulling for our teams, just like there were other teams that had that balance that I talk about. So the other teams, they skew the balance towards, the information that you provide prior to the game, not what you're watching during the game. So I know a lot of, and I'm what's the percent? I don't have a percent, but I know I've had a lot of reach outs, actually from different sports as well, that like the balanced approach. They think information is very important, but so is in-game decision making, and so is coaching guys up, and so is player development, and so is scouting. So I think that's what we represent.
James.
By the way, let me add this. When I think about the other 9 teams that are in the playoffs at current time, I have to stop and think, but I think there's a lot of balance going on those teams. We're not the only 2 teams that way. I think there's several of those teams. I mean, to the extent, look what San Francisco done. They got more coaches than anybody, so they believe in coaching. So I'm not saying that we're the only 2, but I just think that that balance is important for our game.
Go ahead, James.
At points this year, especially with the injuries they're dealing with, Tim Anderson and Luis Robert were, kind of careful on the bases, but over this past, Tim had a really standout game on the base pass on Friday. Luis Robert said, he stole a base, kind of created a run with his legs. Do you see kind of the restrictions coming off of them, or them making their base running kind of a big part of the series?
Well, that's strategy. I would probably like to answer that we're going to shut them down the whole time. But I don't know if you can see this on Zoom, but I've got my eyes crossed. So, the exact protection thing, why not push it? That doesn't necessarily exist when you got to win 3. But what is consistent is to ask them how your legs feel, and you don't want to push and lose them. So if their legs feel good, and if the stolen base is there or whatever, and it's a combination of the pitcher, not the catcher so much, likely to push it. They got to get on base, and they will.
We have time for a few more before we have to let Tony go. Go ahead, Scott.
Sorry about that. Hey, Tony, and going back to the Dusty Baker bond, what do you remember about the short time you guys played together in 1971 with Atlanta?
Well, I remember, like I said, the greatest memory is watching Hank Aaron and actually having a chance to talk to him and later on in years have a relationship with him. That was the greatest. But when I saw Dusty, I went, man, he's really good and I'm really bad. That's kind of what I remember. And I know he's going to play for a long time, play really well, and I better think about managing.
Tony will be available tomorrow as well, so we'll wrap up with this one. Go ahead, Jesse.
Well, happy belated birthday, first of all, Tony.
I was disappointed that most of you didn't reach out and give me a more timely, but I'll get over it.
I'm curious, you've mentioned cleaning up the run game. Without revealing too much, I guess, how much can you do? Is it just mostly pitcher related, holding the ball more, things like that, stressing it a little bit more in that regard?
Well, we started doing that, the second half there were times that the stressing and the improvement actually helped us win some games. But we are, as you can see, we didn't clean it up completely. There's also, I just tried my first real pitch out the other day against Detroit, and the guy was running, but we didn't execute it. So, some of that stuff you hold for later. Not afraid to pull on those plays, but we've improved some, and we'll improve more next year.
Thanks, Tony. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay.
Everybody, just a quick few notes in preparation for tomorrow. Obviously, all availability will shift to Minute Maid Park. As of now, our workout is scheduled for 3 p.m. We're still working with the Astros and Major League Baseball on availability timings for the interview room and anyone on the field. As of now, I think you can tentatively plan for Tony, the game 1 starter, and Tim Anderson in the interview room. And then we'll hopefully have maybe 1 or 2 guys on the field. Liam Hendricks will be one of them. So that's all the Zooms for today. And we'll get these posted, and then we will talk to you tomorrow in Houston.
You're saying starting at 3 is what you're aiming for, or
the workout will start at 3. We don't know media availability
right,
yet.
but that won't be before 3, right?
Correct. As of now, but once we know anything settled, for sure we'll send something out tonight or early tomorrow morning.
Is there any chance if there's going to be anything on Saturday that we need to plan for as far as when we're returning back and traveling?
I have not heard anything for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if we worked out with the night game on Sunday, but I have not heard anything official. I do believe MLB does require some availability in the interview room if either team works out. So I guess there'll be something at the park, but I don't know what at this point.
Okay.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, everybody. We will talk to you tomorrow in Houston.
Thanks, Ray.
Take flight.
Everyone safe travels if you're on the move tonight or tomorrow.
You too, Ray.
Máquina Deportiva, lo mejor del mundo del deporte, con análisis, comentarios, entrevista